Hello, everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on February 23rd, 2016. And, this was the Lockdown TV special. So, just like the old pay per views, every match inside of the steel cage, regardless of whether or not the match needs to be inside a steel cage or not. That's always been my one gripe with the Lockdown style that they go with, is that they put everything in there. And the steel cage is more of a storyline ender, a match that you need to have to end like a feud or some kind. Now, don't get me wrong. Most of the matches tonight needed to be inside the confines of that steel cage, and they did a good job of setting that up, especially the opening match with Eric Young, Bram going up against Beer Money. I really liked the match. They set up a good storyline that solidified that they needed a steel cage style match to to accurately end this feud. And like I said, overall, I think this was a good way of going for them. If they're still feuding with each other, that's fine. But if this is a way to end the feud with Beer Money going over and then going off to do their own thing, that's a good way of going too. So overall, beginning of the show, really, really good. I liked it. The next match they had was Trevor Lee going up against Tigre Uno. Trevor Lee is having the X Division title, putting the X Division title on the line inside the steel cage. This is a match I would say that probably didn't need to be inside of a steel cage, but it's also a good way to end this feud that they've been going on with. They don't really necessarily have much in the terms of story outside of them going after the X Division title, which in this case, perfectly fine. They put on some really good matches. They put on another really good one here. I like how Shane Helms comes out and says that he brings the star power, and then Trevor Lee is the horsepower. So it's like these two guys match together in some way. Like one guy is there to talk and just bring a little bit of extra oomph to everything, while Trevor Lee is the guy who goes out there and he gets the matches done, he gets the work done. That's what you're looking for. So I think those two mesh well together. So we'll see how long they keep up with everything there. Tigre Uno's side, again, he doesn't really speak much in any way, and that's mainly because I guess his English is kind of lacking at this time. So it would be nice if he had a manager of some kind or something in that sense, for other than just his matches, for people to get behind him, because you do need a little bit more than just match quality to get people behind you. But overall, this match, really, really good. I thought they did a good job of doing everything again. Great spots in there. I've always been one, since they've been saying since they had said throughout the entire night that you could win by escape or pinfall or submission. It's like, Tigre, you're on the top of the cage. I know you want a moment, but you win. You climb down and win. It makes actual sense in that case. Now, if it was just a pinfall style match, totally just jump off, create the moment, and do the spot. But it makes no sense for someone to just jump off the cage when they could win the match by climbing down in that case, or even going out the door. So that's always been one of my downsides of the steel cage match. Is like, okay, you have the three ways of winning: pinfall, submission, or escape the cage in any way, shape, or form. So when you have your guy down and you can't get a pinfall on him, why not escape? Why not just get out? I guess it's just it's an area of trying to suspend your disbelief about wanting to go off the top of the cage and everything. But I think they could do a better job in the terms of for the casual audience. It's like, why is he jumping off the top of the cage when he can just climb down the cage and win? Style of everything. So they could easily get rid of the rule of escaping the cage or anything like that. But that's just always one gripe I've always had about steel cage matches in general. That's just something personal on my side of everything there. Next up was the Lethal Lockdown match with Velvet Sky, Madison Rayne, and Gail Kim, with Madison Rayne getting attacked beforehand, so she was out of the match. So you had a little brief promo with Maria and Gail Kim, kind of teasing. It's like, oh, is Maria going to actually be inside of the match against the Dollhouse? Which, they did this Lethal Lockdown a lot different from the others. they did the typical way where you have like 5 minutes, and then then the next person comes out. You have one-on-ones for the first 5 minutes, and then it's like another minute or two later, someone else comes out, someone else comes out, someone else comes out. The thing that they usually do with Lethal Lockdown, though, is the weapons don't get involved until the end, where like a roof lowers and everything like that. And I'm not saying the way they did it tonight was a bad idea. I think it was a good idea keeping the weapons around for the entire match in there. And the little tease where Maria actually came out, but then kind of just locks the door on Gail Kim and Velvet Sky and leave them high and dry was a nice way to go. And I feel like that is the route that they're going for a more long-term plan. Obviously, I think short-term, because especially with the aspect of Jade getting the pinfall here, they're looking for Jade and Gail Kim right now, but long-term is probably going to be Gail Kim and Maria down the road here. So we'll see where they go with everything with that. The Lethal Lockdown match, I was okay with the changes that they made in this case. It wasn't... it didn't seem intrusive or anything like that to have the weapons in there right off the bat instead of how they usually did it. And in the end, it came out, relatively good. I liked the stories that they built in there, and they're continuing on with everything that they need to do. So we'll see where they go with everything. Up next was Odarg the Great versus Eli Drake. Again, I felt like this match didn't need to be inside of a steel cage to begin with, but it is what it is. The match that they put on was all right. They're continuing on with the storyline of the whole Grado thing, saying he has got proof that he shouldn't have been fired and everything like that. I think they could have gone different routes instead of just having him come out there in a mask. It's like him trying to sneak into the buildings and trying to get a meeting with Dixie Carter or something like that to say he shouldn't have been fired. Here's my proof. I would like to see more of that versus him trying to go out there and have matches inside of a stupid looking mask that just doesn't. It just doesn't work in that sense. So they've gotten rid of that aspect of it with this match because he got unmasked when he escaped the cage and won. In there again for logistically speaking, he was like, he's having so much problems getting over the cage. Why doesn't Eli Drake just walk out the door instead of trying to stop him? He could have simply walked out the door. But it is what it is in that case. So again, we'll see where they continue on with this. I feel like they're going to have at least one more style of match where Eli Drake has to put the King of the Mountain title briefcase on the line versus Grado at some point. So we'll see where they go with everything on that sense and how everything goes with it. So this brings me to the main event of the night, which was EC3 versus Matt Hardy for the TNA World Heavyweight title. First of all, the promos that you were getting, you got a promo in the ring from the earlier in the night with EC3 and Rockstar Spud. I thought that was a good way of going. I like Matt Hardy's interjection in there and everything. You even had a few other kind of setup, another setup promo with like Kurt Angle and EC3 and everything like that. Good stuff that they were doing, setting up for the match later on that night. You had the handshake between Rockstar Spud and EC3 in there. Basically, EC3 kind of apologizing for everything, but saying, I kind of did wrong. And everything like that, can't take it back style. Like I said, I've liked the EC3 face turn because they really haven't changed him all that much. He's still very intense with everything he does, and it just comes off that he hasn't changed, but he's just kind of doing things differently in subtle spots versus where he was cheating to win all the time. Now he's just trying to win all the time and everything like that. So again. Good setups with the promos and everything. As for the match itself, really, really good stuff here. Good spots. I like the aspect of EC3 trying to get out of the cage door to win the match, but Tyrus getting in the way. And instead of trying to back off, he invites Tyrus right into the cage to try to take him out. Again, I liked what they did throughout this entire match. And of course, they continued on with this EC3 thing where he has this innate ability to stay in the matches. Even as a heel, he always had the innate ability of staying in the matches. It's like he takes a finisher, he kicks out, he takes another one, kind of and kicks out again. You had a hard time keeping him down. That's what they portrayed in this match and back in the Last Man Standing match, and they continue on doing that. I like things like that they are remaining consistent with the character in that sense. As for the end of the match, I liked it because a Rockstar Spud heel turn. Because let's look at it this way. Back when Rockstar Spud was with EC3 as a heel, he was still kind of like that, underling employee that was, a little bit mistreated and everything like that, but always remained loyal to them and in every way, shape, or form. Remained loyal to EC3 until he backed off and became full face. So he's always kind of a face, but not necessarily a. He was always he was a heel in those senses with his time with the EC3, but he was always kind of a face at that point in time. So it was somebody you could get behind in every sense of the word, along with booing EC3 at that time. So him actually turning heel is a nice little surprise for the character. Like, he never really shown that mean streak in the terms of being a heelish type character and betraying somebody in some way, shape, or form. So the ending with him slamming the cage door into EC3 and then, of course, bashing his head into the steel stairs afterwards, I thought was a good way of going. And it nearly goes to another storyline for EC3 to work with Rockstar Spud, maybe with Tyrus as well in there, and we'll see where they go with everything with this. So overall this week, I felt... Oh, I forgot. I did forget one thing. I did forget one thing in here, and that is the Bobby Lashley Kurt Angle promo. And again, another really good one, kind of setting up for their match in 2 weeks. They've the whole Kurt Angle farewell tour. And I like the aspect of Bobby Lashley going out there and trying to fire up Kurt Angle, because he feels like Kurt's gonna just hold back and everything like that going into his final match and everything. But like, Bobby Lashley's like semi heel here and trying to fire him up, but we'll see where they go with everything. On that aspect, he was trying to say that Kurt Angle was getting soft and everything like that, and he was trying to fire him up by doing the things that he was doing going into this one match in 2 weeks. So we'll see where everything goes with that. I thought it was a pretty good promo from both sides there. And again, TNA Impact this week, I felt was pretty good. It was a pretty good show. The Lockdown show, for the most part, like I said, the matches, they needed to be inside the steel cage, which is what you're looking for inside of a type of show like this, where everything's inside that cage. And everything came off really, really well this week. So that's my review for TNA Impact Wrestling, and I thank you guys for watching.